for some reason, OBS decided that when I pressed the space bar, that meant stop recording. So this VOD's going to be a little weird. I mean, I know it's 5 minutes. I don't feel like reconnecting that. So to the VOD watchers here, you missed me rambling about my pen tablet. That's about it. Sorry, oops. The first 5 minutes of stream are now lost media. Count yourself among the lucky ones if you were here to see it. Or, you know, if someone out there is a Twitch stream archiver, I guess or I could just upload the VOD directly from Twitch, and then I wouldn't have to worry about it. Huh. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. This is, this is the most podcast bit you've done thus far. Listen, I gotta train somewhere. The end result of any online career is starting a podcast. All right? So if I start early, when I finally get famous enough to create that podcast for passive income, I'll have all the training I need, which, technically speaking, is zero training, because everyone knows that you don't need any training to make a podcast. You just need to have clout, right? But I'd like to at least provide a decent experience. We need to make memes about those 5 minutes so people will never be able to learn their origins. Okay. Alright, so next game we are playing is going to be... That's the wrong engineer. Callisto Protocol. Which, as some of you may be aware, is created by some of the minds behind the original Dead Space. Okay? So, originally the idea was pitched that, you know, just do the Dead Space model and add some lens flare, maybe a God Ray in there somewhere, get that HD remaster, right? But I had a better idea, see, because I've watched the Mandalore video on the Callisto Protocol, and though I remember essentially nothing about the Mandalore video on the Callisto Protocol, because I have the special ability to forget YouTube videos, I do remember one key piece of information that was revealed to me, which is the Callisto Protocol takes place in the same universe. Oh, wow, it put it down there, which kind of ruined the bit. As Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. So I thought, hey, seems like a pretty easy get to me. So I think for the bit, this will be the base for our new model. The PUBG guy. Who, I will be honest, I don't really like the design of very much. Another outfit with a tie. You know, despite not liking formal wear on my character, I do tend to have a lot of models with ties, don't I? It just keeps happening. Let's see, what are we working with here? How many do we have with ties so far? The maid model counts. This one counts even though we never used it. Detective for sure, right? I think that was the first one that had a tie. No, not artist. The Gumshoe model has a comically large tie. And then... Has there ever been a model that has changed so drastically? I mean, man. How do we get from this to this? And this isn't even the original one. I am an idiot and didn't make like a new layer for it. I still have the original ones though, so I could remake it. I didn't save over it, which I accidentally did with the Gumshoe model, which annoyed me because it meant that I could only use this when I was making the thumbnails for it. But that's besides the point. We have... There's something that I did want to show you, by the way. We have Mouth, the original. And then, because I like to follow naming conventions regardless of the dark, dark depths they lead me to, that's what this variation is called. That's about all I can say about that. So, it's time to make John PUBG. So let me get the music started. I've added 2 new songs that fingers crossed they don't trigger copyright. Although if they do, oh well. So here we go. Getting right into it with one of them. I was just feeling a little nostalgic is all. So how do I do this again? I grab you. And I pull you up here. Nope. Usually I don't take the whole thing, but today we'll be a little fancy with it, I suppose. So how do we want to do this is the question. Alright. So we gotta look at this and think, how are we gonna do this? So the helmet looks like a regular sort of helmet, and then it's got a big old visor coming down. A little bit of that action. Eyes go there. You know, that sort of thing. Reuse the cap gun? Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. I could do that. Right now, this is looking burger-esque. Now, here's the thing. Do I square the top of the head? I think I should square the top of the head, just because that's how my head is shaped. It's a welding mask. I thought welding masks had a larger... You know, I really haven't been watching enough Forged in Fire, I suppose. Otherwise, I'd instantly be able to clock that. Back to Chicory music. They don't use masks. No, you're right, my bad. Of course. I don't know why I'm getting so concerned about the nitty-gritty of this. Alright, and then... Jaw comes out a little bit. Okay. Well, hold on a minute. I think I want to do it rounded on top, because I did round it on the mining model, and it feels weird if it's not rounded. But here's the thing. If I do rounded, it makes me look like a Pac-Man ghost. Right? Thought of something like this. Let me see what we're working with here. Oh, this is an actual product. $170 for this. Man, those Tachanka cosplays are going to be crazy expensive by the end, huh? I think we get the go-ahead for the rounded head. We'll give it a big shine there. right? You know, because it's HD, it's the 4K remaster, right? And then how do I do these collars again? I think I just do like a... one of these maneuvers. Something like that. And then the tie is loose. Something that's a loose and quite skinny tie. Alright. We got this going on. This technically goes like that, but it's going to be covered up by these belts. We're not going to worry about that too much. Have these there for like the pistol holster things, because pistol holsters are very cool. They're very in right now. His shirt's tucked in. I don't think so. I think that is the bottom of the shirt. 2 belts and he doesn't even tuck his shirt in. That's a second buckle? That's a... I'm sorry. Let's just make sure we're all on the same page here. That's a buckle? That? What, pray tell, is it buckling? Because that's the buckle right there. There's a buckle. There's a buckle. There's a buckle. We got plenty of belt buckles, alright? No need to worry about that. God, without any shading or anything, this looks like a Krabby Patty. Where was I? Okay. This probably needs to go down a little more. Well, I'm not going to get worried about the nitty-gritty right now. Have those little trapezoid cuffs, and then this one has a little... whatever the hell that is. I'm so mad that I tried to access my brain database of Little Big Planet OST songs for this. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just the one song. Apologies. Well, 2 songs, actually. But it's just the one song for now. Okay. There's belt buckle number 1. Right. I think we've got the general idea. Apparently it is a Russian helmet. Damn, I've always heard people say it's a welding mask. It has, like, that helmet shape to it. I don't think welding masks have that chin strap. But I'm not exactly a welder, so I could be wrong. And then, second belt. Although, I don't think we'll need to worry about second belt. Well, it's cool that second belt... I always like these leg holsters. Very tactical. I mean, that does look like Mr. PUBG. It sort of looks like we've got it all sorted out. The only question is, do we want gun? Also, I think I gotta make it square. It doesn't... I gotta figure something out. Because when I make it rounded, this looks like a burger to me. Or a Pac-Man ghost. But if I make it square, then it's not model accurate. How am I supposed to live like this? Now you look like Cyclops? Oh no. To me, my chat members. Make it beveled? You know what, C8? You make a good point. I don't think that worked. What if rounded? No, that's also bad. If it's a helmet, it should be bigger than the back. You know what? You make a very good point. In which case, I could have it rounded like the mining helmet. Right, this would probably be like about yay big. Definitely smaller than that, but don't worry about it. And then helmet. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But I think we've got a good base. Right? We've got good stuff to work with here. We've got good bones to build the muscle and flesh upon. I want to play the other Little Big Planet song now. I wanted to try and pause it before to ask Boulder what he thought it might be. It's this one. I heard this one on Twitter yesterday, and I was like, oh yeah, Little Big Planet music's good. If I wasn't so much of a copyright coward, Sleepy Baby would be on here, just for the record. Now, where were we? Simple joy of just having a big skateboard. So true. So true. Let's figure out this helmet. I think we go like that, so we can have the eyes peeking on through. They killed the servers for Little Big Planet 3 earlier this year. Yeah. Yeah, I try not to think about it because it makes me viscerally sad that such a beautifully creative game essentially no longer exists. There's community servers for map hosting and multiplayer now, though? Oh! Well, that's nice. Good. I was worried they might stamp out stuff like that. That's good. It doesn't feel right. Something about it doesn't feel right. Also, I'm missing a big part of the visor, which is that, you know, it's not the entire thing there. I'm just wondering how I can make this helmet look like a helmet. Cheap viewers? I have plenty of cheap viewers already. Twitch actually caught a spam. What do you mean Twitch actually caught a spam bot? Howdy, Clown. Good to see you. I could go the no helmet route, but the helmet is that. I mean, that's John Pubga's iconic helmet, right? I can't forego the helmet, but I think I'll set it aside for now so I can actually get some work done. This is always weird because I gotta like I have to make a fake kind of midpoint here. How do I do that? How did I do this before? What the hell? Oh, I cheated. Okay, it's not a straight line. Interesting. Okay. Gotcha. So we'll say it goes to about, like, thereabouts. This one's a straight line, I'm pretty sure. Then the next one is a deception. Interesting. Have the arms go down to there. Usually I do the arms on their own separate layer so I can copy and mirror them. So let's do that. They come out just a little. Just a little less than that. More of an angle. Control C, Control V, flip horizontal. Boom. Easy does it. And this one has something a little extra in the form of that little belt. Which, I wonder if I should just have it look like that and be done with it. It serves my purposes well enough, I suppose. Alright, and then pistol holster. We want to go down that much. Certainly makes our job easier. It does. Yeah, that's fine. Dreams got nominated for an award the year it was shut down. Dreams got shut down? What? Huh? When did that happen? I didn't know about that. Did we already get the... We gotta get Ylang Tree. That's insane. How... What? What? In April 2023, Media Molecule announced that it would stop supporting the game in September of the same year. What the hell? Did they shut the servers down? So the servers are still... Okay, well that's good at least. Okay. Decent looking tie, I suppose. I'm starting to look like, what's the... This is such a weird fucking poll. Hold on. Maybe I'm just thinking of Miller for some reason. Hold on. Okay, no, this guy has a vest. I was thinking of the guy... Well, no, hold on a minute. Hold on. For some reason, I'm getting vibes of this guy. Does anyone remember this fucking thing? Does anyone remember this game at all? My only knowledge of this video game's existence is a Stir video. I don't remember anything else about it. I know there was a Stir video. That was it. I also remember people hating on it. I don't remember if that was because the game was bad or if it was because it was an XCOM game that wasn't like a normal XCOM game, so people hated it on principle. And by on principle, I mean the principle of gamers, which are not good. Both. Interesting. Interesting. I think Yahtzee review... Yahtzee did review it, I think. I also have an approximate knowledge of such an occasion. That tie in there. Okay. I feel like our holster straps are looking a little too large now. I'm sure it's fine. Okay. Belt time. I don't think we're gonna get much belt here, really. Yeah, not a lot of belt action from the looks of it. Let's see. Give me a second. Un moment. I'm just gonna have it go down, and then we'll figure it out from there. Okay, and then belt buckle thereabouts. Okay. Yeah, I can work with that. It looks a little weird, but I can work with it. What's it missing? What do I need to sell that a little more? Is it just because I have it connect to the arms like that? It looks weird? I think so. I could also be a little boring about it. You know? Have it like that. John PUBG does already look so boring. That's true. Oh, the limits I place on myself by not having a lower body. Every fucking time this comes up. Have you heard of the High Elves? Oh! Ah! No! It could be me. And you would have no way of knowing. It could have been me the whole time. I don't like... Belts don't do this. Belts don't do this. They do that. Why is this belt like this? They don't do that. It's actually sewn into the shirt. I refuse. No, I'm not talking about this. I'm not. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Let me. Where is it? Where is it? Excuse me, real quick. Sorry. All right. Let's get on this. Okay. I'm not talking about this thing. No, sorry. I'm not talking about this thing. I know that's the end of the shirt, right? I'm talking about this situation where it's coming down at an angle, even though it's clearly going through this loop, which is supposed to straighten it out. and stop it from doing that. Right? This is way too close to the buckle. It's normal on this belt. If you look at this belt, that's where it's supposed to be. You loop the rest of the belt into it, keeps it straight. Why is this belt diagonal like that? That's doing nothing. I don't like you. You make me confused and upset, and you complicate my life. I'm not in love with that. But am I not in love with how I'm executing it, or just the design in general? Oh well, I'll figure it out. I'm already simplifying the belt buckle anyway. Now, back to John Pubga's iconic helmet. What are we doing here? I think that's just the belt. That's just the belt overlapping the part that forms a proper circle. Well, no. I understand. It's like the belt runneth over, right? So that's overlapping, but what this part of the belt is supposed to do is stop that from happening, right? You slot what's left over of the belt, the overlap, through that to keep it straight and align it with the rest of the belt. Right? So that it doesn't hang diagonal, unless that's what you're going for. Right? If we're talking, like, if you had a more... What's the phrase I'm thinking of? If you're not going for this prim and proper look, you can have that overlap hang. In a lot of, like, dance outfits or stuff that's going to have a lot of movement to it, where you want to see more of that movement on the person's body, you can have that hang, right? Because that's one more dangly bit that's going to show that kinetic motion a little better. But I don't like this. This is such a, like, unbelievably useless nitpick for me, and it's all because I don't like how it turns out when I copy it onto my model. Big stretch. You know what? That's true. I could just have a normal belt. Maybe I'm also a little bit of a hypocrite. Because I'm just remembering now. Where's my night model? See, the night model, I specifically have doing that. Right? I have it hanging down a little bit. But you'll see, I think what annoys me is it's not that the overlap is hanging down, as if to show that it's the overlap. It's that the entire belt is aligned diagonally. Which, listen, I'm not exactly a belt expert, but I don't think that's how that works if it's actually supporting the weight of anything. I don't think the slack would be there, of all places. Why am I getting so invested in this? Right, I think we've got that all set up. Oh, this also has little. Oh, it's got a lot going on there, huh? Hmm. What am I doing here? What am I doing? Combine that. Now it's time for the little details, where I'm seeing that it actually has a little bit of a thing going on there. Something there. You know, just to take the piss out of PUBG, you should have made a Fortnite model instead. God damn it. Damn it, that's a really good idea. I'm too into this already. I'm too deep. I'm in too deep. These probably aren't horizontally aligned. You know what? Let's make sure they are. What's on the eraser the entire... That annoys me whenever I lose track of which tool I'm supposed to be using there. There we go. Erase the extra. A little bit of button. Button. Okay. Alright, and of course, little thing right there, since it is a button down. Okay. Now what? Now the helmet, which I keep trying to avoid. But also there's a small tie clip. And I'm getting all the details that count. I'm getting my money's worth with all these little details, damn it. I don't like the buttons on the breast pockets. There we go. Okay. Tie clip is too thick. Let me do this first, so that I don't have to redo it again in case I realize something else is very slightly wrong. Okay, that's better. Nice. Perfect. Good. No complaints there. Trying to make it all the same value. Now, the helmet that I keep putting off. I think the correct course of action is to dome it. I think that's the way to do it. So let's go for... Well, hold on a minute. I'm just going to erase the whole thing real quick. Just to see what head we're dealing with here. Okay. So we wanted to cover most of the facial region. Say there to there. And have it go there. Good. Okay. Then it's going to have a little bit that peeks out here, just so that you can more easily see that it is a helmet. And then dome it. Which, you know, we'll work on that. Hold on. Taller dome. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. Don't worry. Have faith. I'll find the correct angle for this sooner or later. I keep being on the eraser. What if I take this part that I like, I just Control-C, Control-V. Come on. You can right-click. I know you're capable of right-clicking. One thing that annoys me about this tablet pen is that the buttons have somewhat stopped working. Or at the very least, they're finicky. Which, as someone who uses the buttons on their tablet pen quite regularly, is a little annoying. I don't hate that, but we'll see how it progresses. So then... big ol' visor. Move that down a little more. I imagine a lot of the actual stuff that I don't hate about this will look better once I color it in a bit more. Give it some definition. Okay, and then we take our shape guideline. No eyelashes on this one, so they don't really matter. Line art. Fairly well. And then we take all of this. Get rid of that. Oh, whoops. Okay, well, maybe not all of it. would be like peeking in like that. I don't love it. Maybe what I don't love yet is fill this in more. I'll do like that. Something like that. How do we feel about that, chat? I'm not sure I love it. How it's just not sitting quite right for me. Also, maybe it would help if I made it the same color as everything else. That actually did help a little bit. Yeah, it looks off, and I know it looks off, but I'm not sure what to do about it. Is it the eyes that are messing with it? Or is it just too rigid looking? The eyes should be covered more? Yeah, that could be it. I think what's wrong is that let me see if I'm on the right path with this. Hold on. Where is it? Maybe if I did something like this. That helps. That helps. Okay. I feel like that helps a bit. I like that more. What if we just... Why do I keep... I should probably name these layers at some point. I don't think it'll matter too much. Does it need to be squished a little more? And the eyes... Hold on. The eyes would be... a little bit... I think that was it. still don't love the dome on the top, so maybe we'll make that square and see how we feel. Let's see what you got, Merrick. Oh! Huh. No, that does actually help a little bit. Hold on. Add a little dimension to the helmet itself. Yeah? It does actually help a little. I won't lie. Top of the helmet a bit taller as well. Yeah. So then... like that. Yeah. Yeah, that works. Okay. Here's what I'll do then. Okay. Nope, this is the eraser. Stop. Swap over the pen. Just quadruple checking that I'm on the correct layer there real quick. Don't mind me. I think that's it. I think that's the one. I think most of what we're looking for will come in whenever we color it. And I'm looking at this. I don't like the pocket protectors. Rid of that. I think that should be good. Yeah. I think that's good. Okay. So let's get them in place. And see how we feel. Oh, I just realized. How long have I been live? I didn't get into my work clothes. Thank you for the applause. In the other room. Oh, man. What a stream. Oops. Not the first time it's happened. Default model. Let's put you on up there. You guys are on your own. Where is that? Oh no, that's bad. Oh well, we'll figure it out. You there. Nope, not all of you. Just you. Nope, just you two. Look this way, if you would. Alright, now we can line them up. There we go. Alrighty. Keep them all back to normal. Just the one time, and then select. Invert selection, grow 15. And the layer underneath, white. And then, we'll duplicate this and then move it to the side just so that I can have a shade reference here. Oh, why did that happen? Hold on a minute. Oh, it didn't happen. That's why. Gotcha. Okay. Let's see what we're working with here. Right, now I can already see the problem we might have here, which is this whole chest part being a couple shades darker than the rest. We'll lower that. Get all to about the same value. And then copy till we are at the line thickness we desire, which looks to be about that. And any places that aren't up to snuff, fill in a little more. Eraser. Let's see the connection that used to be there. Alright. I don't quite love how that looks. I should have fixed that a while ago, but... That's better. A little bit. I'm probably the only one that will be able to notice that. Now, colors. This one. John PUBG, down here if you will. Report to my office. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Let's do the helmet first. No, easy stuff first, then the complicated stuff. So we'll do the shirt first. Just to show that that's where the shadowed neck area exists. That nebulous void. Now, this is technically white, but I think just to differentiate it from the white that is our base color, I'm going to make it slightly cream colored. just to differentiate this part a little bit. Although, I could just differentiate it a little bit more by having the grime and stuff on it. And then make it a very light gray. So it looks like it has a little texture to it. I think a lot of this model's actual visual interest is going to come from the texturing. A lot like the Engineer model, where it looked kind of plain until we added the all the oil stains and the like. Right, so now we've got that gray. And then let's get some grimy brown in there a little bit. You can't really see it all that well. You can't, it doesn't register as brown. Not that much grime. No, maybe that's not the play there. I do want the blood stains, though. The blood stains are important. Not with this brush, that's not going to work. At least not it's going to work at that size. Usually it does. It's a little upsetting. Oh. No, it's not quite getting what I want there. Maybe I just need to commit a little more. Hold on. I can go back over it with the gray. I want it a little less intense. Okay. I am mostly satisfied with that, I think. That's good. We shall soldier onward with the assumption that we've done a good job. That's what I'm saying. Alright. Tie, I might need to make just a little bit lighter of a shade. Just so that it doesn't blend in completely with... Well, maybe that's just on my monitor. I don't know. Do you think the line art's getting lost there? Doesn't look like it on my other monitor, so it seems like it's fine. Well, I'm just realizing something did get a little lost here on this sleeve. It's supposed to be there so that we can have a belt. Alright, take this reddish brown, make it a little more orangish. And again, stop using your pen on your eraser. those holsters. Little arm belt, which I'm not sure what purpose that's really serving, but oh well. Color in the regular belt. It's coming together. I don't think there's really much that needs to come together, considering how simple the model is, but I'm not going to complain. Alright, and now, the coup de grace. This bluish steel helmet. I think this is where the texturing is really going to matter the most. Because otherwise, this helmet does look a little dopey. We're going to employ some of my favorite little tricks here to make this look a little bit more like galvanized steel. This is the Talos Principle track? I always forget. Okay. Yep. So then we take one shade that's a little darker, go over it. One shade that's a little lighter, go over it. Give it a little bit of color variance there. Do I have like a more of a splatter kind of brush? That's not exactly what I was going for, but interesting texture. This maybe? There we go. Okay. Put some scuff marks in it. This might be the most I've experimented with brushes in a while, really. You know, I quite like that brush, and I think it's useful. You're going in the favorites. Back to where we were. Time to add that iconic John Pubga shine. Which may be a bit too intense, but we can iron that out. Alright. Obviously that means we get it on that part of the helmet too a little. That means make this part a little bit darker. Very basic shading. Which is to say, really the most that I'm generally capable of. Alright. And then one little data point we missed here. I'm just going to fill this visor in completely black. Then we add the eyes. And I think that's it. Turn that off for a second just so we can steal some eyeballs. if you don't mind. Tis the season, after all. Now the hard part is I'm going to have to tailor this a little bit. Shouldn't be that difficult though, all things considered. Before this, actually, I don't know why this... I don't think I need the shape guideline here anymore. No. Goodbye. Take the colors, make them a little weaker. Paste over. And here's what we will do. We'll cheat it out just a little bit, but generally grab the area of the visor, select invert selection, and then just delete, delete, delete. We don't need to worry about the blink, because the eyes will just disappear. That works out pretty nicely. So, bon voyage. That's the open. Time for the close. Delete. 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 And they're gone too. Color comes back. I think that works out rather nicely. Although I think the line art needs to be a little thicker. I'm not sure though. Let's see. No, I think... Well... Is that too much? Let me pull up another model again just to see how we're feeling about that in terms of line art thickness. Is that too dark now? So usually I just copy the head right on over. No, that's actually what we're looking for. Okay, good. Good, 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 good. So set you to 50%. Merge you on down. Alright, I think that's that. Now we just gotta animate it. What are we thinking, folks? Is it missing anything? Well, I guess it'd be easier to tell if it's missing something by looking at it in motion. So, give me 1 second. Switch to manual upload. Oh, right. If I want to make the GIF, I actually need to save the files. Of course. What do I call this model? Yep. What do I call this model? No, I have this naming convention. It's gotta be a noun. Like a profession, usually. Like if you look at how I've named all the other ones, this is usually a convention that goes to it. So what can I name it? John PUBG Mo... No, I can't. I refuse. I categorically refuse. Man, that's tough. Employee, since that's the French name for desk bureau workers. Unfortunately, we aren't playing XCOM the Bureau. That would have been perfect, though. And if we ever do play XCOM the Bureau, I can just remove the helmet. And it'd be perfect. Remove the helmet, give it the fedora from the detective model. Huh. I got it. This one's going to be... Again, I'm going for more generic ones. Survivor. There we go. Nicely done. A+, pat on the back for me. It did actually come out looking quite nice, I must say. Ready? I'm going to be playing this game called the Callisto Protocol. Which... Again, oh man, this model is a couple levels of abstraction away from that, by which I mean maybe like 1 or 2. Which is that the Callisto Protocol, I don't know if it still technically is, or if it was planned to take place in the same universe as PUBG. But I remember that piece of information vaguely, so instead of making John Action from the Callisto Protocol, I've instead made John Action from PUBG. Did I do that in the right layer? Something doesn't look right there. Hold on. I did. I don't think I used the right color, though. Did I? A little better. A little more delineation between the line art and the color there. That's better. Alrighty. Now we crop it. I gotta rename it Survivor Model. And I'll be interested to see what the Callisto Protocol is like. Because again, I don't remember much of it from the Mandalore video that I watched, other than it seems to be Dead Space-esque, but a little more focused on melee combat. Which is interesting, because I feel like the whole kind of conceit of Dead Space was you never wanted anything to get into melee range. I'll be interested to see how that plays out. Again, I've heard. Brother's a little excited about something. I'm not sure. I think fantasy football. I'm not sure. He takes it a little more seriously than I do. Save as. New model. New folder. Survivor. Is football occurring? Football is, in fact, occurring. Is this Survivor closed one or so? Yeah, it's okay. Survivor closed one. Save as Survivor closed 2. Oh, no, cancel, stop. Survivor closed 2 with a capital T. Otherwise, I would lose my mind. And then Survivor closed 3. And then we do the open ones. Survivor Open 1. Two. And 3. And then 1 without the eyes. Yeah, we are already done today. That's actually something that I was gonna bring up. Technically, this would be the halfway point of a normal stream in terms of the art streams, but, well, it would be the halfway point of a normal stream because we've been live for an hour and a half now. But usually these things take us a little bit longer than this. The model is very simple this time around, yeah. I feel like the last couple have provided a lot of unique challenges for us. In the sense of, you know, the Diva model, what is it? The Spurman model, we were working with a whole new thing, so it was about figuring out how to mimic the style. This is actually the most unique model that I have, stylistically speaking. It breaks every single convention that I have. The Diva model, we spent a lot of time figuring out how we wanted to get the eyelids to work. And also just the general design, since it was pretty complex. Gumshoe model was also figuring out how to get the hat to work, and how to get the gun arm to work. Both of which I think turned out pretty well. And then the Spectre model was another big departure, because the head was completely different. So that one also took a while. This one, I mean, we had the helmet that was a little different, but everything else is nothing we haven't done before. Really. So it worked out pretty well. So now it's time to make the model. Survivor closed 1. Survivor closed 2. Survivor closed 3. Now we play PUBG. See, that's the thing. I'm wondering what I should do for the remainder of this stream. You also sometimes get a little lost in the details, not a bad thing. It does, that is a particular habit of mine. I was pretty focused today, though, which is a rarity. Save image as, Survivor closed, animated. Maker. Obviously we have fan art, so that's going to take up a little bit of time. And there is one other thing that I was going to show off yesterday, but we ran super late yesterday. I was watching the VOD back a little bit. At the 3-hour point, I'm like, alright, now we're going to do a little teaser of Mass Effect 3. It'll be a real quick, in, out, 20-minute adventure. There were 2 entire hours of the VOD left. I also said around that time, how long is this going to be? I'd prefer for it not to be like an hour long. Oops. I guess it's not really my fault that the game was good. The Biotic Bullet. Was that our superhero name? Is this how I normally name these? Animated is the last one, yes. Okay. Survivor, open, animated. Right. Close that. And I will be right back. Don't panic. Image. Oh man, I gotta start uploading those VODs. Those are taking up a lot of storage space. Open animated, and then 2 identical blank frames. That doesn't really matter. Okay. Huh. You know, I think that worked out quite nicely. I think that looks pretty good. It's missing a little something. I think I need to add back the this. It's got to have that. I noticed that I took that off of some of my models, but I do like the little bit of extra animation that adds. And then I do have the... Oh, wrong one. Sometimes I'll have the sway on here. I took the sway off because I had that plugin that made it so that I bounced whenever I actually talked. But that plugin stopped working because OBS updated. But I like the little bit of sway. It's not enough motion to be distracting, but it's enough motion to make it look like the model actually has some life to it. I feel like my eyes are cycling faster on the talking motion. Oh, I didn't even check the most important detail. Hold on, let me hotkey this one. Hotkey Shift 4. Let's see. Looks seamless to me. Nice. All right. Happy about that. Very happy about that. Oh, man. I will say, though, it's a little sad I'm not going to be able to get to use... Where's my engineer model? I'm really happy with how this one came out. So it would have been fun to modify that one. There's a small dot on one of the bag spikes I can't stop seeing. Oh? What do you mean? There's a lot of small dots. Do you mean on this one specifically? Sometimes I wonder if at the tip of the third one. Oh, do you mean that? Switch between this model and another one and you'll see it too. Let me open the AutoTube so I can... Oh yeah, it's very different because I traced over it instead of just copy-pasting it. Oh. Interesting. Luckily, I'm looking at the PUBG model and thinking that one is weird instead of the base model. But we shall see. Alright. I do like that for the artist model I have the head come up a little bit when I talk. It just makes it look like it's more locked in. Which definitely works well for the art streams, considering that I tend to get very focused, shall we say. Sometimes I wonder if I get too focused and I'm not talking enough to make the stream feel like it's worth it, but I feel like that's also an insane thing to be worried about. Where's the new model sheet? Come on, you know the alphabet. There it is. The idea of tablet buttons is to make the artist hunch over into the tablet more to ruin their posture. Luckily, it doesn't work on me or any other artist I know because no one uses tablet buttons. At least I don't know anyone that does. Like, all the hotkeys that I use are part of my keyboard. Which probably does make life a little more difficult. No, it doesn't. Because I can't do this using my tablet. Woo. I tried to switch over to CSP a bit ago, Clip Studio Paint, but that's when I realized that I had gotten too used to the hotkeys for Krita to actually be able to switch at that point. Particularly, the hotkey that I just learned that was extremely useful for me was this one. If I press if I hold shift and then move the cursor left and right, up and down to some degree too, but left and right, it just automatically lets me change the size a little. Before, I was sitting over here like, no, bigger. Okay, a little bigger. Good, and now I can just, boom. All right, well, that's the model made. So we got that all done there, which is weird. Again, it feels like we got that done very fast, but luckily, again, like I said, not only do we have fan art, which I'm definitely going to go over today, I have something that I wanted to go over with all of you. All right, I'm gonna remake it. I made this certain something. All right, but I'm gonna remake it and explain my reasoning for my choices as I go. How do I reset this? Just drag them all away. Okay. Uh-oh. Reset. There we go. All right. Give me 1 second. All right. This is something that is of vital importance. A tier list for the Mass Effect 2 companions. This is vital. All right? Tier lists and stream content are a romance as old as time itself. All right? So, of course, I had to do this. All right? Originally, I was talking with Pub when I made this, and I was just going to pull up the completed tier list on stream yesterday and talk about it. But like I said, we got a little bit caught in the weeds in a good way because it turned out to be a fun stream. But you understand what I'm saying, right? So, let's go through it. All right? Let's get some easy ones out of the way, okay? And I'm not going to lie, these choices might surprise you. I know that I've called Pub's takes insane many a time, and he has done the same for me. However, he did say that my tier list was insane when he saw it. So, keep that in mind. All right, obviously, Zaid, Omega garbage. Or horrible, awful. Don't even want to look at him. Bad. No redeeming qualities. I did not enjoy Zaid whatsoever. Was not a fan of him at all. I think my problem with Zaid is that he is just played way too straight. There's no Morinth because Samara is here, but I'm just going to substitute Samara for Morinth, just like the writers of Mass Effect 3 will probably do. That's my prediction. Or Morinth for... You know what I'm saying. So I'm just... Assume that this Samara is actually Morinth. Okay? So I didn't like Zaid. I think the problem with Zaid is that he has just played far too straight. It is just full on, like, he is the most badass mercenary ever. He always gets the mission done. He'll headbutt 5,000 Krogan and win just because he's so cool and badass and he's the best. And he's just some fucking guy. I'm not a fan of Zaid at all. All right? I think I'm going to go bottom up for this tier list just to keep things interesting. Or maybe I should do bottom, top, and then... Because I think my C tiers are going to be the most controversial. Right? I think my C tiers are going to be the most controversial of all. I think I'll do that. Okay. So, we've had an obvious Omega garbage. Now let's go for one of our S tiers. Legion. Easy S tier. Easiest S tier of all time. Legion is, without a doubt, I think, the best written character in the entire game. He is the most interesting on pretty much every conceivable level. It is bonkers to me that there's someone out there who played Mass Effect 2 and said, no, I don't want Legion on my team. Send him to Cerberus. That is insane that that's a possibility, that someone does not know how good this character is. Right? Easiest S tier ever. Look up the Reddit thread right now. I will not delve into those. I'm not going caving on my own, alright? But if you'd like to search those briny depths yourself and come to me with evidence of some misguided soul, sure. But I feel like this doesn't even need explaining. Legion is just extremely interesting, extremely endearing, very fun character, very cool character, very interesting character. D tier. No one else is in Omega garbage. There is only one character that I put in D tier. Who do you think it is? Who do you think is the one character I put in D tier? Someone got it. Someone got it. It's Miranda. Miranda is D tier. I have no love for Miranda whatsoever. I think she is another character that is just played far too straight, and because of that comes across as either incompetent or trying too hard, or both. Right? And I will say, a lot of these choices are also going to be heavily influenced by the loyalty missions. Right? A lot of them I don't even remember most of the conversations that I had with the characters. So, loyalty missions are going to be a massive influence on the characters. And as for Miranda's loyalty mission, it was hilarious in the beginning, but it's a nothing mission. It's this extremely predictable action movie slop where the smartest, most perfect, most genetically superior person in the world can't even see that she's about to suffer the most obvious betrayal ever orchestrated in all of space-time. And I feel like I'm supposed to be like, what? No way! They betrayed her? Oh, man. Man, that means that they must really be super dastardly and despicable. But no, it just makes me kind of feel like Miranda is dumb. Unfortunately. Which sucks. But that I don't have any love in my heart for Miranda. Her butt's not even that good. It's not even that good. Other S tier. Let's see. Let me just cross-reference my list to make sure that my thinking. Okay, yeah. All right. Other S tier. Grunt. Grunt is S tier. And I know this one, I feel like, is probably going to be a little controversial, because I think a lot of my fondness for Grunt comes from stream memes, right? That is my darling gamer son, right? I feel like a lot of people would not consider him S tier, but to me, I think the Krogan are one of the most interesting species in Mass Effect. And I especially really liked Rex. I really liked Rex. So having Grunt be this character who is essentially an outsider in his own culture that allows you to explore it as he becomes more inundated with it, in addition to having a loyalty mission that's a lot more involved than other ones, and that also ties in Rex, who was, again, my favorite character in Mass Effect 1. I think Grunt has one of the best loyalty missions in the game. It's very involved. There's a lot of interesting things going on. And you're exploring an alien culture that is very different and very... what's the word I'm looking for? Defined. Our darling gamer son is how the Mass Effect fanbase thinks of him, so most people would agree with S tier. Other people have come to the conclusion that he's their darling gamer son? It's just that involves Mass Effect 3 now. Yeah, Pub showed me his tier list, and he said a lot of it was heavily influenced by Mass Effect 3. So we'll see how this tier list shifts after Mass Effect 3. I'll be interested to see if anything, gets better or worse. Right? Now, we get into the C tier, because again, there are no other D tiers. Alright? C tier number 1. Jack. Jack is C tier to me. And I think the reason that Jack is C tier to me is because there's a couple factors. One of them is just... Yeah, thank you, Eric. Thank you. One of them is fuck off, right? Which is, I tried to be a normal person and not go down the romance route of a character that I did not want to romance and just wanted to see how their story developed. And my reward for doing so was the only option to not do this is to say, you're weird, until you're normal, I won't talk to you. And then every single time I talk to her afterwards, it's just, fuck off! Which, granted, funny stream bit. However, it did essentially ruin any chance I got of understanding her character on a more complex level. Right? Additionally, her loyalty mission is a big old nothing burger. Right? I get that there's, some complex emotional thing going on there where, oh, maybe it wasn't all as bad as it seemed, but clearly it was pretty bad because it's Cerberus and Jack is pretty fucked up about it, right? But I don't know. Everything about Jack kind of reeks of, if you romance her, you can fix her. Does that make sense? I get the feeling that if you go down the romance route with Jack, she becomes more normal and well adjusted, and I don't like that. That's a very bad writing choice. Especially I feel like anytime there is a female character and their deal is that they're traumatized, the answer to trauma is fuck them about it and they'll feel better. Right? So Jack gives me bad vibes. And also her loyalty mission was a big old nothing burger where the entire point was just Cerberus is fucked up, but also maybe not, but also definitely because it's Cerberus. Right? So, C tier for Jack. Alright? Now, this is the last one in S tier. Okay? And I'm not gonna lie, I think this one is gonna be extremely controversial. Not controversial in the grand scheme of things, but perhaps a confusing choice for me, because again, this is the last character in S tier. Mordin. I think Mordin is S tier. Particularly because Mordin is a kind of character that I don't think I've ever encountered in fiction before. And I think that they portray him in a very consistent and interesting way. Right? I like... One of his character traits that I like is that he's excited by the prospect of something that presses him with less resources. He likes the circumstances to be more dire because it forces him to get more creative. I like that about him. And another thing I like is that, obviously I disagreed with his conclusion on the genophage, right? But I like that Morden's opinion on the genophage is not unsympathetic. It's never unemotional, right? He tries to make it unemotional. It comes across as though he just ran the numbers, and that makes you think like maybe he's just going to be this unemotional scientist character, right, who crunched the numbers and like, oh, this is clearly the most ideal outcome. But anytime you challenge him on that and say like, hey, dude, this is a really fucked up, tragic loss of life, he never backs down from that reality and tries to hide behind the statistics. He will use the statistics as a justification, but he doesn't ever back away from the inherent tragedy that he is directly responsible for. Right? He fully acknowledges that, like, yeah, this sucks. I hate that this is what I had to do, but I had to do it. And I think that's really interesting, because in any other situation where you have a scientist character like this, I feel like it would be played very straight, where he doesn't understand why people think it was a bad idea, right? Where he doesn't see that gray area, but he lives in that gray area at all times. And I think that's really, really interesting. I like that a lot. And so that's why I think he's S tier. He's a character that I haven't encountered before. He's a very interesting execution of an archetype that I really thought he was going to be a more generic character than he was, and so I was very surprised at how he came out. And his loyalty mission was very involved. There was a lot of interesting things happening, and it felt like it might have a lot of broad consequences for the story as a whole going forward, right? So Morden is definitely S tier for me. I think a lot of the loyalty missions, like, again, the loyalty missions have a big impact on how I see the character as a whole. Legion's loyalty mission feels like it has a lot of weight to it. Like, the decision that you make at the end, that's definitely gonna have some impact in Mass Effect 3. I hope it will have some impact in Mass Effect 3. Morden's as well, I hope that has some impact in Mass Effect 3. I don't think Grunt's is gonna have a lot of impact in Mass Effect 3, but I like how involved his was compared to other missions. So yeah, that's my S tier. Those are the only characters that are going in S tier. Next up, another C tier entrant. Jacob. I will state plainly, I do not understand the hate for Jacob. I don't love the guy, obviously, because he's in C tier, right? But I don't understand why everyone seems to hate him so much. Waste of a character. Yeah, that's part of it. I get the feeling he's a very nothing character, right? But I don't think he's like nothing to the point of being offensively bad or offensively boring. I think that Jacob being so straight-laced and boring gives a little more texture to the companions that you get later on. Right? I think he's like a decent litmus test for like, what's the complete middle ground for a companion? Right? If you're worse than Jacob, it's bad. If you're better than Jacob, it's good. But if you are Jacob, it's just okay. Right? He's like that guy you get at the start of Mass Effect 1 before you recruit Ashley. Yeah, he's like the Jenkins of the team. Right? He doesn't have any specific loyalties. I don't feel like he has any strong beliefs. His loyalty mission, while being complete bullshit nonsense comedy writing, was at least memorable because of how stupid it was and funny, right? At least Jacob's loyalty mission was fun. I can't say the same for Jack or Miranda or Zaid, right? I had fun with Jacob's loyalty mission, right? So he's in C tier for me. Another thing that pushed him up to C tier and out of D tier is I think it's funny that after you exhaust all of his dialogue, he gives you like the fucking like bring it in one hand hug and says like, yeah, after this we'll go get some drinks at the Citadel. Like, oh yeah, hell yeah, brother. We're super close and you're loyal to me. Hell yeah, wave that death flag, baby. I just thought that was funny, and so Jacob is my bro. I have a feeling James has very quickly swooped in and sort of stolen that bro spot from him. But Jacob is C tier for me. All right? A tier. This one's not going to surprise anyone. Well, maybe it'll surprise you that she's not higher. Tali. Tali is definitely A tier. I like Tali a lot. I wish that I got to have more conversations surrounding her as a character in general. You also got that bro dialogue, which is okay. If you're femshep, he basically flirt harasses you. Okay, that's what I heard about Jacob, is that if you play as femshep, he's like insufferable to the point of being gross. Right? So maybe if I played as femshep, I would have a much more negative opinion of Jacob. But as male shep, he's just like, you know? He's okay. Tali is A tier. Tali isn't S tier, because I don't think she's as interesting of a character as the ones above her, but I still really, really like her. I like her design a lot. She's a Quarian, and the Quarians, I think, are one of the most well-developed races in the setting, and her loyalty mission lets you explore the Quarians and their politics in a very interesting way, right? So again, her loyalty mission has a lot of influence over this. Personality's cute. It's fun. I like to have, you know, everyone likes that shy techie character, or maybe that's just my type. I'll be honest, though, I think romancing her actually pulled her down a tier. To the point of, like, I might... I'm wondering if I wish I didn't romance her because of, like, how much I didn't like how that turned out. Which is, it feels weird to say it, but, like, I don't know, it just put a bad taste in my mouth. It felt like it progressed way too fast to the point that it made me a little uncomfortable. Like, it felt out of character. Didn't like it. It felt gross to me. 1 second. Sorry, I thought they were talking to me. It felt kind of gross to me to go from, you know, shy techie, oh haha, I just have a fever, you know, and who wouldn't fall for some handsome captain coming in and saving me twice and letting me join their crew, haha, teehee, I'm so demure, immediately to like, I want our sweat to mix, I want to feel your skin on mine. Like, it's gross, is the only way that I can describe. Going from there to there in one conversation, it felt gross to me. It made me feel gross. I didn't like it. I straight up did not like it at all. So I genuinely, like, I did a little save editing, obviously, a little save editing, between Mass Effect 1 and 2. I don't know if I want to romance Tali anymore, because I really didn't like that shift. It's that severe. Like, Tali, I might just enjoy more as a character on her own, because I think romancing her was really bad. Or maybe I'll just divorce her in Mass Effect 3. I don't know what else to say. Like, I feel that strongly about it. She's still A tier because I like her as a character, but I think romancing her, like, erased her character. So I'll have to see how that develops in Mass Effect 3, but I don't. It just felt gross. I felt gross about it. Who's our last C tier? If I do end up divorcing her, she'll go to divorced tier in Mass Effect 3 whenever we redo this. Oh man. Okay. Next C tier. Morinth. And here's what I'll say. All right? I really, if we're going off of the fake personality for Morinth that we have developed, the fake backstory we have given her, all right, the Morinth of our dreams, A tier. All right? A tier. Okay? However, Morinth as she is utilized in Mass Effect 2 is a very nothing character. It's a like, you have exactly one conversation with her. That's it. Like, you have Samara, and you have a couple conversations with her, and then you have the funniest fucking loyalty mission ever. That's just like a bad porn script that they reworked into an action movie. All right? And then you recruit Morinth, and you think, oh man, here's this really interesting, like, not even morally gray, just like straight up kind of evil character that I'm gonna have on my crew. Oh man, what kind of tension might this provide? And then she says, oh no, don't worry about it. I'll just pretend to be my mom the entire time. And the only time I'll be me is in secret. And the only times that we'll talk in secret is exactly one conversation. And then nothing else happens. I feel like... I don't know. I feel like she's underutilized to the point that I wonder why she even exists. I feel like she's kind of there just to be there. Because there's absolutely no reason that any rational person is going to play Samara's loyalty mission and choose Morinth outside of it being the funny option. I don't see any benefit to actually picking Morinth whatsoever outside of comedic value and like, oh, let's see where this goes. And it doesn't go anywhere. So there's even less reason to pick her. You know? Her loyalty power, yeah, group dominate is decent. You know? It was fun to use it. And again, if we're talking about the Morinth that we created on stream, A tier. Very fun character. I like what we did. But we're not the writers of Mass Effect 2. And I... like... I don't have high hopes for what happens to her in Mass Effect 3. If anything happens to her in Mass Effect 3. Like, I worry that she will just be completely absent, and that if she is present, she will just have fully morphed into Samara. I think that she has been done a complete disservice by the writers. So I hope that they do something with her, but I don't have high hopes that they will. I don't believe they'll do anything with her. Who's my next A tier? Alright. Next and final A tier, which tells you where these other two might land. Kasumi. And this is, of course, partially influenced by the Kasumi that we created on stream, but also, I think she's a fun character. I think she's a fun character. I think her loyalty mission is also very interesting. There's no other loyalty mission like it, and so that makes it fun. It makes it memorable. Her voice actress does a good job. There's a lot of funny moments in there as well, right? And also, I was very surprised by the amount of dialogue that she had as a DLC character. You know? I was, again, genuinely surprised at how much she was commenting on the characters, how their loyalty missions turned out, their relationship towards Shepard. That all surprised me a lot. I find it really interesting that she's the only person on the crew who knows that Morinth replaced Samara. That's a really interesting character detail. And so that's a lot of personal preference there. But, oh no, couldn't resist. No! No! I didn't mean to! She's just not... It was the writer's fault, not hers! The writers gave me the ick, not her! I'm so sorry! No! Oh, poor Tali. I hope you're better written in Mass Effect 3. I really hope so, please. Please be better written in Mass Effect 3. I don't want to divorce you. I changed to male ship to romance you. I don't want to divorce you and make it all for nothing. Oh man. What a tangled web we weave. Alright. And then the two B tiers. I'm going to put them both there because we obviously know where they land. Garrus and Thane. We're mask guys. Of course it's all for naught. What does that even mean? Alright. Garrus and Thane in B tier. Right? In B tier, again, here's how I'm rating these. Best, great, good, okay, bad, don't even talk to me. I feel like that's a pretty accurate assessment of how I feel about these characters, alright? So B tier, they're good, alright? I like Garrus. I like Thane. I'll be interested to see if they pop up, not if, because I know Garrus is going to feature. I'll be interested to see if Thane pops up in Mass Effect 3. My problem with Garrus is the same sort of problem that I have with Morinth, where I feel like they don't do anything with him. Like, Garrus exists, but he feels really stagnant in Mass Effect 2. Like, his entire thing in Mass Effect 1 was, do I go rogue and, you know, go on my revenge quest instead of staying more by the books, right? And then in Mass Effect 2, he's gone rogue. He's serving his own personal version of justice when you meet him, right? And then his loyalty mission is, oh, let's go do a revenge mission where I can go serve my own personal version of justice. And you do that. And that's it. There's no complexity to it. He's just Dirty Harry. Right? And I like Garrus. He's cool. They don't play it entirely straight. You know, he's fallible. Unlike Zaid, who is completely infallible. Right? But I don't think they really did much with him. And his loyalty mission was a complete nothing burger. Zaid is just Human Rex and you just don't want to admit it. Pub. Not only do I admit that he is just Human Rex, I have said so multiple times before. He is just human Rex. And the reason why Rex is interesting is because he's a dinosaur whose entire culture is based around pursuing that warlike dominance, right? So instead of just being, oh man, this guy is super cool, it's like, oh man, this character who reflects their entire culture is cool. Right? He's your introduction to the Krogan as a species. Whereas Zaid is just a guy. And I'm supposed to be like, wow, so cool. Man, what a badass mercenary. You troll him so much he automatically assumes it's you. Yeah, anytime someone asks me a question that has no context, I assume it's Boulder. Anytime someone is fucking with me, I assume it's Merrick. It's just the way my brain works. It has those mental shortcuts while I'm streaming. Hold on, let's shuffle this again and just go for the next one, see what we got. Singing in Tea Time Meadows. I think we just got this one, didn't we? Okay, good. Alright. So, Garrus, I like Garrus. I just don't think they did anything with him in Mass Effect 2. I don't think they did... I think the writers did him a disservice in Mass Effect 2. I don't think that, like, he really has anything interesting going on. I feel like he's there because you gotta have some guy from Mass Effect 1 pop up. And so Garrus is there. I think Garrus as a character might be more interesting in Mass Effect 2 if he didn't join your crew. If he just stayed with his own crew as Archangel, working to fight the gangs in Omega. Sort of like how Rex is doing his own thing, and Liara is doing her own thing, and Kaidan is doing his own thing. I think that Garrus would be a lot more interesting if he was doing his own thing, because his whole character now feels like it's based around that lone wolf archetype, where, you know, he's had teams in the past, but by, you know, circumstance has forced him to work alone. It'd be interesting if you had a guy who kept popping up taking sniper shots at missions you thought were covert, but he's just so cool that he's one step ahead of you. Yeah, I think he should be that guy. He should be your guardian angel. He should be your archangel throughout the game. But instead, he's just a guy who runs calibrations in the basement. And then you go on a revenge quest that doesn't really have anything happening there. And then Thane, I also think is pretty cool. I think he's a very interesting character who gives you this nice insight into, like, he's an introduction to the Drell as a species, and he also gives you this insight into Hanar society, which I think is pretty interesting. But I don't think they do anything with him as well. And a lot of that is gonna, again, stem from his loyalty mission, where I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about his loyalty mission at all. Like, it feels like a big nothing burger of a loyalty mission. There doesn't really feel like there's any, like, he abandoned his son, and I guess that's a little interesting, but he just sort of makes up with him after stopping an assassination, and they reconcile. And I guess that's kind of interesting, but it doesn't really do anything for me. And I was really sad about that whole interrogation thing, where, like, I really got some wind in my sails, because I thought it would be really funny to see him have to play good cop when he doesn't seem like he's a very socially active person. And then I walked in, pointed my gun at the guy and said, I'm a human Spectre, I can kill you and it's legal. And he'd be like, okay, I'll give you the information. And that was the entire interrogation. And Thane just sort of sat there. And I was really sad about that. So, like, that's to the point where, like, I'm worried about picking Renegade Paragon options in the future because they might just be skipping the interesting part of dialogue because they're always an instant success. Right? It was funny. Like, Thane makes a comment about, like, that might be the fastest interrogation in all of history. You know? But I didn't want the interrogation to be fast. I wanted to see Thane flounder in his good cop role. While I was, like, over the top, like, I'm fucking unhinged, dude. You don't even know how crazy I am. Do you see this fucking face? Huh? I might not even be human anymore. They put me back together. I'm back from the dead. You don't know how fucking crazy I am. And then Thane's like, you gotta trust me, man. My partner's real fucking crazy. Like, I'm an assassin. I wouldn't fuck with this guy. I wanted something like that. And then instead I just got like, you don't even know how fucking crazy I am. And the guy crumpled there. And that was it. He's like, yeah, I don't know how crazy you are. I'm sorry, don't hurt me, please. Please, he's in the shipping yard. That was the whole thing. Maybe I should have gone good cop since I would be worse at it. Maybe that was my mistake. But as a result, Thane also feels like a character who's like generally kind of cool, but I don't feel like anything really happened with him. He's got great setup and no delivery. You know? I came into the game expecting that some characters had plot armor and that some characters were guaranteed to die. And so I thought that Thane's storyline would conclude with some heroic sacrifice, you know, to finally balance his moral scales or whatever, you know, to repent for all that he'd done, essentially. But instead, since everyone survived, he just keeps going. And now he sort of feels like a character who doesn't have a reason to continue existing. There are a couple characters like that I don't know what reason they have to continue existing. Right? No, I think it's just Thane. I don't know why Thane exists anymore. I don't know where Jacob's gonna pop up. I know that he will. I don't know where Jack is going. I don't know where Thane is going. I don't know where I know where Samara is going, or rather where she's gone, off to that great Pale Beyond. I don't know what's gonna happen with Morinth. Who knows what's gonna happen with Jacob. Listen, I know it turned out to be a super sexy robot with a 2-inch waist and H-cups, alright? But I'm still locked in on Miranda being a Cerberus cheerleader in Mass Effect 3. I don't have any other idea where her character could go other than Cerberus cheerleader. So, you know, I guess we'll find out next week, actually, if my streaming plans go according to plan. But yeah, so that's my tier list. That's how I feel about the characters in Mass Effect 2. Like I said, whenever we get to the end of Mass Effect 3, I'm definitely going to do another one, obviously, just to see how I feel about the characters, and see how they've changed. I'll use this one as a basis. I'll place everyone there and then move them around to see how I feel. How do I feel about Liara in Mass Effect 2? I think... How do I feel about Liara? I think Liara suffers from the same writing problem as all of the other Asari. Which is that I just don't think that Video's game were ready to write women yet. Especially not an entire race of, like, what is supposed to be sexy femme fatale women. Right? And especially don't think they did a convincing job illustrating Liara's heel turn, essentially. Like, I don't think they give you enough information or context about Liara to show you how she got from Mass Effect 1 Liara to Mass Effect 2 Liara. Right? Now that Mass Effect 2 has happened and she's been working as the Shadow Broker for a couple of years, I can see her being this hardened Mass Effect 2 Liara that we already saw, right? I can see how having that position would change her, and how having to fight the war against the Reapers would also change her. But I don't think that I see how Mass Effect 1 Liara becomes the biotic badass that she's supposed to be, who has control of this massive information network in Mass Effect 2 by the end of the Shadow Broker DLC. I don't see how she gets there. So I think she's like... she's B or C tier. I like her, but I'm just not convinced. I'm excited to see her again, especially so early in Mass Effect 3. And I like that the context of Mass Effect 3 and the tone they're going for has sold me on this new version of Liara. But I don't think they do a good enough job in Mass Effect 2 of selling that shift. Does that make sense? The writers can't write women who aren't defined by being someone's daughter or their bodies, with Miranda literally. Yeah. Yeah. Which makes Kasumi pretty interesting. Because I don't think she's really defined by either of those things. But she's also not very defined in general. She's kind of defined by her love for her former partner. But she's very much pitched as this character who is independent, highly skilled. You know, she earns her own respect in that sense. And I could say the same about Tali, but again, the way that her romance route is written really, really put a bad taste in my mouth. Like, it's just too drastic of a shift. I'm not against her character developing into that and becoming more confident by being in a relationship or something like that. But I think having one conversation where it's like, oh, haha, I'm being so coy about it, to immediately like, I want to feel your skin against mine, it made me uncomfortable. So that's about where I'm at. I feel like it was too drastic of a shift. I hope, just like Liara, she gets better in Mass Effect 3. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. Now, to take us home, because I'm somehow managed to get, I think, an entire hour out of this tier list. Wow, I really can yap, huh? Fan art time, folks! In the order in which they have been released. First on the docket, this will be my first time seeing it. Merrick Bentus. Hold on, let me zoom out a little so she's not being covered up. Human Quarian Hanar Ardat Yakshi Spectre Biotic Bullet. Hell yeah. My fucking womb tattoo. Fucking, it's like smoke coming off of it on the armor. Oh, that's fucking cool. Dual wielding with the tentacles. Damn. Incredible. Damn. Looking cool, man. Looking cool as hell. Jelly doesn't want to admit that I was right once again saying to not play Engineer. Okay, like, Why do you keep saying that I don't want to admit things that I would readily admit to? Why, like, oh man, Jelly doesn't want to admit that they like water. Jelly doesn't want to admit that they like drinking water. Jelly doesn't want to admit that they like fresh air. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you... Yes. Obviously, the correct choice in Mass Effect 3 was the one where I can zip a fucking planet away to punch someone and then explode them. And then I turn to another person, charge punch, send them flying like a fucking Gmod ragdoll. Obviously, that was the correct choice. What am I gonna summon a little... Oh, let me summon my little combat drone. Fly, my Scarab! Attack them! Let me shoot from behind cover. What am I, some sort of fucking pencil pusher? No! I'm gonna punch someone. Very hard. And sure, I'll probably die because it's a really reckless playstyle. But, you know, that's worth it because sometimes I get to punch someone into the ocean. So thank you very much, Merrick. A perfect representation of the character that we have become somehow. I also just love this fucking... The way you draw Kasumi is just so fucking good. Just like the lip bite. That's so good. Alright. Thank you, Merrick. Next up... Oh, big stretch. We've got from C8, something that I have partially seen, but now I get to fully view. It's her! It's Hammerhead-chan! Oh, this is so fucking cool. Oh, I love this design. Very good. Also adorable, yeah. We need a shark off with her and Ripper-chan. Fia will decide the winner. So fucking cool. So fucking cool, man. Hell yeah. The Zoomies one is absolutely adorable, yeah. I love that she has a shark tail, but also it's like the fins on the ship. Yep, me and Merrick at the same time. Oh, that's extremely good. I like the rifle too. What's that based on? This little bullpup there. Oh man, we haven't had a Chan in a while. We haven't had a Chan in a long while. Very, very cute. Very cool. Thank you, C8. I'm a big fan. I might have to draw her sometime. I love the little claws on the boot. Again, it's really good. Man, I love your rendering too. Damn. Very good. It's based on the gun that's attached to the hammerhead. Nice. Very cool. All right. Okay, furry. All right. Cool. Thanks. Not yet. I don't think I have a single model yet that would make me a furry. Therefore, I'm not yet. But, you know, you're on the internet long enough, it happens. Thank you very much, C8. It's been a while since we had a new Chan. I'm excited to see her. Thank you. And then lastly, courtesy of Flora, this one is a video. A very cute Tolly off the bat. Does dressing up like a hand-arm make you a furry? I'll leave that to the lore experts. So this one is courtesy of Flora. Let's see how it goes.
Are you trying to romance me? Yeah. It's working.
Let's do that again.
Are you trying to romance me? Yeah. It's working.
It's just... this fucking thing. I love the weird ass tentacle face Quarian model we've settled on. I love that the flesh lattice mass became these space tentacles.
Are you trying to romance me? Yeah. It's working.
Honestly, more romantic than anything in Tully's romance in Mass Effect 2. It really is. More romantic. This is what it was missing. We didn't have any time to woo her.
Are you trying to romance me? Yeah. It's working.
I just love the really far away, like, yeah. It's just so quiet. Oh. All right, thank you very much, Flora. So once again, thank you, Merrick. Extremely badass. Thank you, C8. Very cool, very cute. And thank you, Flora. Very funny. Good stuff. Mass Effect 2 really has a 94 score on Metacritic. Oh, man. We're going to get into Metacritic scores. Should I read reviews for Mass Effect 2? It's less a wink and more of a glance. Frame before Eldritch Jelly looked to the side. Let's see.
Are you trying to romance me? Yeah.
Just... like he had to think about it for a second. Like, laying there in the sexy pose, like, surrounded by roses. Am I trying to romance her? Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
It's working.
Cute little blushies. Oh, all right. Good stuff. Did I ever say, like, how I actually feel about Mass Effect 2? I don't think I did. I mean, it's a little hard to have a super concrete opinion on it, since it took so long for us to get through it. 13 streams, by the way. 13. Count them, 13 streams. How do I feel about it? Overall, positive. Better than Mass Effect 1. Considerably better than Mass Effect 1. I thought Mass Effect 1 was, like... was just okay. Mass Effect 1 was... it's a good setup, but it felt really clunky to play, and the writing wasn't very good, and the missions weren't all that interesting. So, you know, it's alright. I feel like, you know, I need to play it to have some context for what's going on in Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is good. I enjoyed it. I think there are very few games that make the entire game a setup for the final mission that stick the landing. And I... excuse me. I think Mass Effect 2 very much sticks the landing. The best mission in Mass Effect 2 is the final mission, without a doubt. It is very clearly where all the effort went into. And it all pays off. I have, like, a couple little, like, you know, the nittiest of nitpicks in, you know, the end with some of the execution. Like, I almost would have preferred if I was forced to sacrifice some of my squad. Like, I know that I deliberated on it quite a bit and ended up making all of the correct choices, in some manner of speaking. But I do feel like some characters, as a result, just didn't really get to exist all that much. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't use Mordin for anything. So he was just kind of there in the final mission. He didn't add anything to the conversation that much. He didn't have a specific role that he needed to fill. Same with Zaid. Same with Tali, even. Like, I brought Tali with me, but I feel like, you know, it didn't work out that well. I sent Thane into the vent thinking that's what assassins in video games do. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's a testament to how good it is that even though it's really good, you wish there was more. Yeah, I think so. I wish that... I don't know. Maybe... I mean, obviously I did so well because I took the time to do all the loyalty missions and get all the Normandy upgrades. So obviously I'm giving myself the highest possible chance of success. But I almost wish that the pressure was on even a little more. Right? I sent Legion into the vents because I assumed there'd be like, oh no, there's no air in the vents, and then Legion would be fine. Was it still like, oh no, the vents are heating up? Is that how they get around it? Normandy upgrades are such an annoying grind in the vanilla game. Yeah, I can imagine... Oh god, imagine how long these streams would have been if I didn't install that instantly, you know, drain all the resources from a planet. Oh, God. If you fail the vents, they don't close the door in time and they get shot. Interesting. I do like that there are a lot of different, like, you know, shit can go wrong. I do like that there are actual stakes. I just feel like I almost want there to be more. I'm not unsatisfied that I did so well. I'm just a little unsatisfied that not everyone had a specific role to play. Right? To the characters that did have a specific role to play, I thought it felt really cool. Kasumi, especially, it felt like she was perfectly suited for that specific task. And so being able to pick her and having that succeed because of that felt very satisfying. It felt like a really good payoff. It felt like I had chosen well, and it felt like my time invested into her as a character was rewarded. Same with trusting Jacob to lead the squad, trusting Garrus to lead the squad, trusting Morinth to put up the biotic barrier. Everyone that I chose felt like they got a very satisfying conclusion to their inclusion on the squad. Right? I just wish that, like, I wish that even just one more choice for who should be forced to lead them. Right? Or even the idea that, like, once you use a specialist, you can't use them for a different task. Right? Because I could have just chosen Jacob again when I needed another squad, you know, I needed another secondary squad leader. I could have just chosen Jacob again and it would have succeeded. But I feel like if you, like, have a fire team leader and then I just feel like maybe, not that they die, but maybe they get injured or something. That means that you can't use them again for another task. Like, you've used that squad member, now you need to dip into your resources a little more. I understand why it doesn't work that way, because the only reason I'm thinking like that is because I had so many people to choose from. And if you don't have as many people to choose from, they have to account for that fact. Right? You can come there with, like, what, 4 people or something? You can come there with just, like, Jacob, Miranda, Mordin, and Tali, or something like that. You know? So you can really have a small squad there. So they have to account for that. But the downside of that is that having a very large squad means, you know, some of them aren't going to get to do anything. Unfortunately. But overall, I think the game is good. I had a good time playing it. I had a great time playing it. It's one of the funniest games that I have ever played. And I don't think that that's intended. That's not to say that the game doesn't have comedy in it, because it obviously has stuff in there that exists to be funny, right? But I don't think that the game was supposed to be as funny as I found it to be. I think there was a lot of stuff in there that I was supposed to take a little more seriously and maybe engage a little more thoughtfully with. And I just couldn't do it because all that shit was just so funny to me. It has that David Cage kind of vibe, yeah, where it's unintentionally funny in a lot of ways. Like, everything to do with, like, Garrus being Archangel, fucking hilarious. Right? Absolutely hilarious. Jack getting so pissed that all she ever says to me is, fuck off, amazing. Although that might, again, I think that is probably supposed to be funny. Or maybe it's only funny because of the amount of times that I did it. Maybe the first time you're supposed to be like, oh, wow, damn, she really hates me. And then I just kept going back, and all she had to say was, fuck off! In the exact same way every single time. I don't know. I think it is a game that has in equal parts exceptional sections which far exceeded my expectations and large swaths of content that feel as though they have been forgotten about or not given the care that they needed. It feels inconsistent in some ways. Some characters very clearly got a lot more attention than others. Some points in the writing got a lot more attention than others. And that's just going to be the fact of a larger game like this that has a lot of writing in it, is that it's not always going to be super consistent. That bar of quality isn't going to be met every single time. So you try to hit it as much as possible. Compare the worst loyalty missions and the best missions in Dragon Age Origin. I feel like worst loyalty missions are still better than the best in DAO. I kind of agree with you in some sense, in the sense that I don't really remember the loyalty missions in Dragon Age Origins. But I also don't think that there are any characters in Mass Effect 2 that get as much characterization as any of the characters in Dragon Age Origins. And that has a lot to do with the format, right? In Mass Effect 2, you can only bring 2 squad mates with you at a time under very specific circumstances during a limited number of missions, right? And they will only talk to each other whenever dialogue happens and they have something to say, right? Whereas in Dragon Age Origins, you have 3 party members with you at all times, just when you're wandering around, and they have dozens of lines of dialogue that are not only just incidental conversations, but conversations that build on each other. They'll come back to topics that are dependent not only on duos, but sometimes even trios, right? So the characters get to interact a lot more with each other, and as a result, they get a lot more characterization, right? And so you get a lot more attached to them, because in those large swaths where you might just be walking around or going from place to place or just fighting a bunch of enemies and not engaging directly in conversation, they're filling that time and making the party feel more alive, feel more cohesive, feel more real, you know? And additionally, there's also a lot more inter-party tension in Dragon Age Origins. Most of it, or the most direct example, is going to come from Alistair and Morrigan. If you've ever played Dragon Age Origins, you know that that shit is like sibling rivalry the whole way through. They are just constantly disagreeing, whining about each other, trying to trick each other the entire time, right? They're 2 people that, if the circumstances of the game had not happened in the exact way that they happened, there is no chance in the world that they would ever interact with each other whatsoever. But because they're forced to interact with each other, they have a very interesting and fun dynamic. And that doesn't really happen a lot in Mass Effect 2. The only two examples of inter-party conflict I can think of are Miranda and Jack, which is just like this one-off thing that's dismissed as like, ooh, cat fight, right? Even though, realistically speaking, they should be at each other's throats every hour of the fucking day, right? Like, they should be on each other all the time, right? And then Tali and Legion, which is, again, they have that inter-party conflict. Again, they have that quick moment where it's like, hey, it's him or me, right? But they don't get a lot of opportunities to really interact, which is a shame, because I feel like Tali would probably have a lot more to say than, I don't know how to feel about that, about there being a Geth on the ship, in the AI data core. Right? I feel like there's a lot more that those two would have to talk about and bicker about than they actually get. And it feels like missed potential, because I know what BioWare is capable of with Dragon Age Origins. Right? So if you're asking me which companions I'm more attached to, it's going to be the ones in Dragon Age Origins. I spend more time with them, and I have a lot more ideas about how they interact with each other. Whereas in Mass Effect 2, everyone else feels very separate and static. They have very concrete personalities, and I don't think their worldviews are ever challenged unless you challenge them, and you don't get a lot of opportunities to do so. You know? I think that's the biggest complaint that I have with Mass Effect 2, is that it has this massive cast of characters from wildly different backgrounds who are forced to come together because of the circumstances, and then they don't really do anything with each other. They're all cordoned off in their own separate rooms, and you get to interact with them as Shepard, and you have a lot of very interesting conversations, and they're enjoyable personalities to interact with. But it's missing a lot by not having them interact with each other as much. How do you feel about getting Samus Aran Metroided prior to the start of ME3? I have no strong feelings on it, really. I mean, I've never had that big of a problem with, like, the Metroidvania, oh no, I lost all my powers for the next one. Because I don't really see that as, like, a narrative thing. And yeah, we started off at, like, level 30. I already have 2 of my abilities fully maxed, and another one level away from being maxed. I'm very much not at a low power level. I'm already teleporting across the entire battlefield and punching a guy so hard he ragdolls. Right? Not in a power sense, but in a writing sense. Explain. What do you mean by that? Telling me we need to gather a whole new crew again? I don't have any particular complaints about that. He was technically, because of the actions he took in Arrivals, he was stripped of his military status. Right? And I can believe that. You know, there's no shot in the world he gets away from that without any in-world consequences, no matter how justified it was. Right? They would need, like, the bare minimum the Galactic, like, the Alliance could do to Shepard is strip him of his military regalia and his position. Right? That is the absolute bare minimum they could do, is strip him of his position. Right? So I don't have any problem with you needing to build up your crew again. Because for what you did, it's a wonder you're not fucking court-martialed. You know? Counterpoint, he's a Spectre. A status which he most certainly would have been stripped of, I think. Although I don't know if the Alliance would have the power to do that. I don't know. I just feel like it makes perfect sense that you would need to start from zero in Mass Effect 3 because of how insane of a thing you have to do in Arrivals. So I don't have any particular problems with that, no. I'm very interested to see where Mass Effect 3 goes. I'm very excited to see how it plays out, and I'm looking forward to it. And the gameplay so far has been incredibly fun. Mass Effect 2 set up for something very interesting. And I'm excited to see how it pays off, or if it pays off a lot of the good setup that it had in Mass Effect 2. I love how the consequences for Arrivals totally overshadow the consequences for defeating the Collectors and the fledgling Human Reaper. Yeah, I feel like the Human Reaper has already been forgotten, not just like by the world, but by the writers. Rest in peace, John Reaper. We barely knew you. Yeah. We barely knew him. And you didn't believe that the DLC was more important than the main quest. I don't think I said that I didn't believe it. I might have. So I'm not willing to take a firm stand. You know, I'm not going to die on that hill. I'll roll over. I think... no. No, because here's the thing. If I skipped Mass Effect 2 and just did Arrivals, there are going to be so many characters popping up that it's going to be like, whoa, what the fuck is... What are you? Who are you? What are you doing here? Like, yeah, it's more important for the main story, but it's also establishing who I assume is going to be the primary cast for Mass Effect 3 as well. Suicide Mission could have been to blow up the relay and stop Arrivals, and it would just work. But instead they have the Collectors, which are filler. Yeah, I think that if I had those two things, like, on my desk, I would probably say combine them. So that's definitely a missed opportunity. But I'm not too beat up about it. You know, I'm not going to get too hurt about that. But overall, Mass Effect 2 is good. A little spotty. I'd say it's like 8 out of 10, probably. Pretty good. Pretty good. I quite enjoyed it. It's got a little bit of something for everyone. Really makes you feel like Commander Shepard. But yeah, so I think that's going to be it. We've shown off once again. Thank you, Merrick. Thank you, C8, and once more with feeling.
Are you trying to romance me? Yeah. It's working.
Thank you, Flora. Thank you as always for the fan art. Greatly appreciated. And I will see you probably tomorrow. I won't say probably. I might see you tomorrow, if not tomorrow, Wednesday, for the start of the Callisto Protocol. I have the freedom in my schedule to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday. So we'll see. So no promises on weekday streams, but keep an eye out for them. We shall see. So I'll either see you tomorrow or Wednesday for the first, probably of 3, stream for the Callisto Protocol. We done good, chat. We done good. Have a good one, folks. See ya.